Hi-ho, this is Kermit the Frog, and you're listening to a brand new episode of the 12A Podcast, brought to you by the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Yay! If you would like to check out more shows, go to foureyedradio.com. Yay!
This Four-Eyed Radio production is brought to you by America Joy Print Shop. All your printing needs taken care of in one convenient place. Visit americajoy.com for business cards, flyers, banners, decals, car wraps, and more. Visit americajoy.com.
Welcome to the 12A Podcast, where you're going to learn about movies, entertainment, and a lot of other cool stuff. And now, here are two guys who like to dress up as superheroes on the weekend, Jeff and Steve.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Sorry if this doesn't sound right or a little bit different than before.
Our audio guy is MIA.
Yes.
And that might have something to do with being locked away in a dungeon for the last month?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is when he called me and said, hey, I might not be able to make the show, my first thought was, hey, no problem. I think you've earned a night off. Mm-hmm. And no problem. Steve and I used to record the show on our own, no problem. And then as soon as I was done with the conversation, I thought, oh crap! I forgot how we recorded it.
Yeah, exactly. How did we do this? There's a lot more stress here. Like, I don't know, is my audio level good? I have no idea.
I have no idea.
There's nobody controlling a board.
I know.
Right now.
Hopefully they hear the music.
Yeah. So
we're just.
It's not our fault if this is a bad podcast,
right?
No.
Yeah, it's Sam's.
It's all
really
his fault.
It's really if he can't do all the things that he was doing and this. It's just a shame. He needs to work harder. And speaking of Sam working harder, we should probably explain to them why Sam has been working so hard.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. So we've talked about, and we're doing a audio drama, and it was cast. And actually, I got to give kudos to Jeff. It was cast really well. I'm loving the end result of this. He did a great job directing and everything on it.
Thank you.
But it has been in the post-production process. And by post-production, we mean Sammy. Who already has his usual 8 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And then we decided that he wasn't allowed to do anything else.
No.
So for... probably he spent 30 hours or so beyond his regular job doing the editing of this, and so that's where he's been at, and that's why we say locked in a dungeon, because he keeps emailing us clips, and we keep replying back with, this is really good, but can we change this? And I think at one point he probably was kind of done with it and said, screw these guys, I'm just going to finish the whole thing myself.
Yeah, and judging from what I'm kind of guessing about the amount of hours that he's put into this, I think he's worked like a month worth of full-time day job in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been... we were on the Socially Awkward podcast last Friday, which was a blast. We had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. It was, and that's the first time I had met Matt in person.
Right.
Eric and Steve I had met before, like at Comic-Con. But it was a lot of fun and quite the blast talking to them.
Yeah.
The whole time. But what were you going to say? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Well, I was just going to say it was kind of fun. I kind of, because we typically kind of keep this like, anybody can listen to the podcast, but that's a very adult-oriented sort of podcast.
Yeah. Let's drop the F-bomb.
So it's just kind of like, okay, I gotta, yeah.
Well, no, and it was a lot of fun. And for any of you who are not going to give me crap for it, Grandma and Mom, you should listen to it, because even in we eventually at some point are talking about strippers and popcorn, which was hilarious, Matt. I was dying laughing.
And
at
the
that.
Cards for Humanity is like a dirty version of Apples to Apples.
Yes, the Cards Together. So it was a very fun live podcast to be on, and we'll definitely be doing it again. But we talked to them, and we actually released a promo little clip of this audio drama, and they seemed to love it.
Yeah.
And for me, like, the fact that they wanted more after we were done, I was like, all right, we sold this.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Because, of course, I liked it. I like all of our projects, you know? They're our babies, even if they're ugly, they're still a cute baby to me. So...
Yeah. Well, yeah, so just to kind of give you a full compass, like, we've been doing this podcast for, it's
been a year.
It's been a year
right
now?
at a year now. I think we're very close to a year now. So every other week for a year. So yes.
Wow. Well, so congratulations, first of all, Steve.
Yes,
wow, a
thank
year.
you. Mm-hmm.
Well, so we've been doing this audio stuff for a while, and Sam's really been into it, and he's really been pushing the craft and stuff. And ever since we did HOA Police, we've been trying to get another project off the ground, and it hasn't gotten off for one reason or another. And so we just thought, well, hey, we're doing these podcasts. What the hell? Why don't we just turn this into a radio drama? And so we got literally an old script from the golden age of radio. And for our first one, we decided to pick this like dramatic kind of a horror.
Yeah, it's a scary horror.
Yeah.
You know, somebody dies type of thing.
Yeah, so we picked this script. Like Steve said, we went through all that stuff. So the script is actually an original script that we kind of updated and refreshed a little bit, with which the actors helped a lot with. And so that's what we have, and we're releasing it on Halloween, which I'm excited about because it's a scary thing. And what I'm really hoping people do is I hope that they go to bed at night, turn out all the lights, and then just crank it up and hide under the covers.
Right, because that is the best way to watch, even if you're watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about it later because I watched a couple of movies from our top 10 list.
Oh,
thing
good.
we made.
All right.
But even if you're watching a movie, that's the best way to do it. Is sitting by yourself with the lights out. You know, don't watch a horror movie during the day. You're going to miss the effect of it. So
right.
yeah, that's going to be the perfect way to listen to this. Is with the lights out, in your house, by yourself if you can, or just sitting next to somebody else, but in the dark. I mean, just to get that full effect of a good scary movie type of thing.
Right. So we're going to play for you the same clip we played on the Socially Awkward podcast. So if you listen to that podcast with us, it's the same thing. But I think it's a really good hook, don't you, for the show?
No, I definitely do, because you want to like, wait, what are they doing there? What's around the corner? I need more of it. Yeah, it's a great hook for the show.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's about 5 minutes long. But, here's your teaser for what is going to be coming out Halloween.
All right, here you go, folks.
Knock harder, Alice, knock harder.
I can't. It hurts my knuckles.
Let me.
Well, she has to be home. There's a light on upstairs.
And you were going to surprise her, huh?
Well, you know what? She never leaves this
You don't
place.
even know that she still lives here. This is just great. A car with a flat, stuck in the middle of nowhere. Nobody is home in this godforsaken place. And me, I swear, I am so tired I could cry.
Well, she has to be home.
God, Alice, you are repeating yourself. If this is a vacation, then
Wait, there's someone at the door.
What?
Yes? What do you want?
I'm looking for, are you Miss Sagas?
Yes. What do you want?
And you are Aunt Harriet.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Who's calling me Aunt Harriet? Who, I say? Who are you?
Well, I'm Alice. Alice Preston?
Alice. Oh, yes. Yes, bless my soul. I know you. Come in.
Oh, hallelujah. We're here.
Come in. Close the door.
Oh, Aunt Harriet, you don't know how glad I am to see you. Did we have a time getting here?
Yes. Come right in here.
There, Lana. I told you we'd be welcome.
She didn't even ask who I was.
Now, put your things down here and sit down and make yourself comfortable.
Aunt Harriet, this is my friend Lana Stevens. We roomed together at the university, and I asked her to come along with me because I thought that...
It's all right, my child. It's all right. Anyone's welcome. Anyone at all.
Well, that's very kind of you, Aunt Harriet. I mean, I hope you don't mind me calling you that, but Alice always called you Aunt
There, my
Harriet.
child. It's all right. A name's a name.
Okay.
Now, sit here and be comfortable. I'll get some tea. Yes, some nice tea.
But, Aunt Harriet...
Well, apparently your Aunt Harriet does whatever it is she wants to do.
Doesn't she?
Well, as long as we're here.
She didn't ask me about anything.
What do you mean?
Well, she didn't ask me about anyone, and isn't that sort of funny? After not having seen any of your relatives for 10 years, not even to ask about them?
Oh, give her time. Chances are you guys will get in an all gab fest over a cup of tea.
Yeah, I guess.
God, this place is like something out of a museum, isn't it?
What do you mean?
The house, like the furniture. Look at the chairs and that sofa. I mean, they look prehistoric. Are they prehistoric?
I didn't think she was so old.
Old? You mean your aunt?
Yeah.
Well, after 10 years living in this godforsaken place, I don't know, I kind of thought she was nice, though.
You do?
Well, taking us right in, not asking us all sorts of silly questions. That's the kind of relative to have. I mean, if we were going to barge in on my relatives, they'd give us the third degree about why we had left school, how long we were going to be there.
Mona!
What's the matter?
Back there in the shadows.
What? I don't
There's something moving.
Oh, it's a dog.
You sure?
Oh, whoa. That's not a dog. That's a cat.
It can't be a cat.
Oh, my God. That's as big as a police dog.
Are we seeing things?
God, it's really dark over there. I can't quite make it out.
It is a cat!
Oh, that's not a cat. That's a tiger.
Mona, what do we do?
Don't move. If we move, it'll...
Now, here's your tea, young ladies. Nice, warm tea. Just what you need.
Aunt Harriet!
What's the matter? What? Oh, he's frightened you.
What is it?
You've got eyes, haven't you?
Yeah, but...
It's just so dark in that corner, and we can't hardly tell. And I can't believe I'm even saying this, but it's not a tiger, is it?
Oh, don't talk nonsense.
Well, then what is it?
He shouldn't be here at all. It's much too early for him.
Aunt Harriet, didn't you hear me? I asked you what it was.
What do you think he is?
Well, it can't be a cat.
Yeah, that's as big as a dog.
All right. Come upstairs. I'll show you to your rooms.
There can't be a cat that size, Alice.
This way. I'll show you to your rooms.
But Aunt Harriet...
Come along, I say. Up these stairs.
Come on, Alice.
But why does she keep...
Come on. We just better do as she says.
Okay, all right.
All right, that was beautiful. Yeah, like I said, that is like a perfect little hook at the end. Like you want to know more on what's in that corner and that dark shadow and that big cat thing or whatever it is. So, yeah, all right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, and I've listened to it, but we even had a few last-minute changes made today that I haven't listened to yet. And I think I'm just going to wait till we just release the thing, and then I'm going to listen to it. But I want to do it like what you do. I have not let Tiffany listen to the whole entire thing, so when it comes out, I want to have both of us just sit back and listen to the whole thing at night, see what her reaction is.
It's good. What was great is I let Shireen listen to it up until about this point, and she was like... let me hear the rest, please. Let me hear the rest. And it was like, sorry, it's not finished. And it was like, so. And
I want to go out on a limb of saying that the production value is a lot better. And honestly, it's because of all the post-production capabilities we have now than the original. So even though I've listened to the original numerous times, this one still... like gets me going differently. Like I know how it's going to end, but there's still just there's different things like knocks on the doors and the walking in footsteps and stuff like that just adds so much of an element to your imagination that you don't get from the original.
Oh yeah, and there's so many things that Sam does in terms of his design that I think we should really maybe dedicate our next podcast after this comes out to giving us a chance to sit down, especially with Sam, and we can talk about sort of all the nuances of how we made it and stuff like that. Because it sounds really slick. We worked with some really great actors, and Sam has just done a terrific job. And between those things, especially, it's just been I'm really proud to just be a part of this. This is really fun.
No, I totally agree with you, and maybe that's what we should do. We'll talk to Sammy and see if he actually wants to talk about it after doing nothing but that for so many weeks. But that would be great to maybe the next podcast will be behind the scenes, and we'll just break it down some and ask questions and maybe post for anybody who listens to it. What kind of questions do you have for the editors? So
so
open it up.
Last thing, how can people listen to this?
We're going to be releasing this fully on the 4-Eyed Radio Network. So anywhere that you currently listen to our podcast, whether that be Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, right off of our website, 12aproductions.com. We're also going to have a link available for you to just download the actual file from 12aproductions.com, too, if you don't want to stream it or anything like that.
Yeah, and it'll be like a high-quality, nice WAV file. So it'll be a bit bigger, but it'll be a lot nicer, cleaner, and the way kind of Sam wants people to hear it.
Right, yeah, which would be interesting because, so far I've just listened to it, streaming it from, a Dropbox account on my headphones. So it'd be, I'm sure, even more, I'm going to hear a couple more things in the background type of things. So.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because even though you and I are reviewing it, it's still on a lower quality MP3, and not the full version that Sam created.
That the artist meant for it to be taken in. Hey, so there's a very big thing happening, Jeff, to you and I this week.
Really?
Our birthdays.
Oh, yeah!
Happy birthday to us.
Yes,
this is our birthday week. Jeff and
right.
I, yours is the 4th or the 7th?
The 4th.
The 4th, that's right, because mine's the 30th, so today, as you're listening to this, it is my birthday, and then Jeff's is the 4th, so we've always been the same birthday week, and are you doing anything for your birthday at all, or?
The only thing two things. The only thing I think I'm going to do on my birthday is I'm going to go to the Arizona Wilderness Brewery.
Yep.
So we got these guys to sponsor the podcast, or not the podcast, but
the drama, the radio
drama. The radio drama, yeah, because back then they always had like one sponsor, like this show is brought to you by, and we wanted to kind of stay true to that. So we talked to John, who runs the Arizona Wilderness Brewery in Gilbert, which is an awesome place, and a place we went for production meetings for this podcast, or for the show. And so you get a mug on your birthday, and for like $3, and they fill it up. Yeah. And he's coming out, I think, on Halloween.
Yes, Halloween. The pecan pie.
Yeah.
Ale. Oh.
It's like a brew with like a pecan pie beer with a whole pecan pies. Like I can't wait.
I can't wait. Because I follow them on Facebook, and they post pictures all the time where they're doing stuff. And when they posted pictures of these whole freaking pies in this brew, I'm like, I needed this.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my birthday is the day before Halloween.
Yeah.
So he won't have it tapped yet. But I still want to do the same thing. I'm like, all right, I took the day off, take care of some stuff in my house. I think I want to go to the brewery, have some lunch there. I'm wondering if I might be able to beg him to just let me try some before.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be able to make it out there on Halloween, and I'm afraid I might be, the stuff might be gone in 2 days.
That's what I'm worried about, too. I know, right?
Yeah. So, but I want to do the same thing. Go get my the birthday beer mug, fill her up, and have a beer on my birthday. That's about the gist of my plans. But I'm getting older now. It's, I'm turning 34. So I figure, for my 35th, that'll be another mark. That maybe then I'll throw some kind of party. Because for my 30th, I had a funeral, all black party.
Oh, that's right.
Death to my 20s and stuff like that. So maybe I'll do something for 35. But so it's just simple. Just have a beer. But so this is our birthday podcast. So we're going to talk about whatever we want.
Yeah, damn right.
That's right. I listened to our podcast, because I always do, because I just want to know how it sounds to other people.
And you like to listen to yourself.
And I think that I have a very beautiful voice. But I also checked out our blog that we have on 12aproductions.com about the horror movies and scary movies on Netflix.
Oh, our Halloween guide?
Our Halloween guide.
Yeah.
So it's really good. And there was a couple things I didn't find, but I had on my personal top 10 list, there were some movies that I hadn't seen before. One of them was that Blood, The Last Vampire.
Yes.
And then another one, which was one you brought up during the last podcast, was House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah.
So I watched both of those this last couple of weeks.
Okay,
all right?
and?
House at the End of the Street, Jennifer Lawrence. It does have a twist in it that I did not see coming, and that made me happy on the inside, because that doesn't usually happen.
Oh, good.
But otherwise, it was not that much of a jumpy, scary movie. There's a few times where there's good use of walking in the forest quietly and the footsteps type of thing, with no music. But it was not as scary or gory or anything as I thought it would be.
Okay,
it was a long story. is what it was. So I was not, unfortunately, that impressed with the movie.
Oh, okay.
There was a scene with Jennifer Lawrence where she's putting out a fire, so she obviously has to take off her shirt, so she's only in her white tank top to bat the fire out.
Right.
I'm sure that was, scripted very well.
That was the highlight of the movie?
Yes, that was the highlight of the movie. So it was, okay.
Well, how was she in the movie?
I need to look and see where she did this in line with everything else, because I felt like she was a little awkward. And, she's playing a teenager in high school type of thing. So I guess there was nothing exceptional about it, She did okay in it, but it was kind of a cheesy character, I thought, because she's this teenager in high school and is at a new school, and the house across from where she's living is haunted, or somebody, this girl killed her parents there and then she disappears. But, she is in a battle of the bands and plays the guitar. I don't know. It was just very campy, I guess.
Well, it was early on in her career, so I'm sure she was trying to find... you have to kind of pay your dues, right?
Right, yeah. And that's why I was like, okay.
It came out the same year as Hunger Games.
See, and so that's what I was wondering, because, Silver Linings Playbook, Hunger Games, well, her big one was Winter's Bone, and I still have not seen that, but that's, that was the big, put her out there, and then all of a sudden, she did X-Men First Class, Hunger Games, Silver Linings Playbook, and House at the End of the Street, but... I just feel like this was kind of I don't know, it's not at all what she was like in Silver Linings Playbook. And now that I realize that Silver Linings Playbook and House at the End of the Street came out at the same time, that blows me away, because those are two very different characters.
Well, what's interesting, though, is, those, according to IMDb anyways, those three movies all came out the same year. But she didn't shoot, though. It was all at the same time, obviously.
Right.
And my guess would be that she did House at the End of the Street, and maybe it sat for a while, and then while that was just sort of sitting, they maybe she did Hunger Games, and then while they did all the post on that, she went and did Silver Linings Playbook.
That would make sense from the age she looked and her character and stuff. That would be the progression of what I thought was her peak in Silver Linings Playbook. Yeah, that would make more sense,
because there's such a big jump between Hunger Games, where they were obviously trying to make her look a little bit younger, and Silver Linings Playbook, which they were trying to make her look a little bit older. Mm-hmm. But for me, I didn't... Jennifer Lawrence was just coming on my radar. It took me a while to make that connection that, that's the chick from Hunger Games.
Right. Yeah. But on that, my little Jennifer Lawrence tidbit for you is the two trailers that are out right now. There's a new trailer for Hunger Games that's out, and then the new trailer that I haven't watched it yet, but for X-Men Future Past, whatever it is, that she plays Mystique.
Wow, that's interesting. She must be making movies in threes, because there's also American Hustle, which comes out in December, which I am dying for it. David O. Russell did that, who did Silver Linings Playbook, and before that he did The Fighter. So he's 2 for 2 in his...
And he's using casts from both the movies.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, is it's an amazing cast. And Jeremy Renner's in that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really love Jeremy Renner. So I was talking to somebody else about this. I don't know if he's done anything bad, but he hasn't done anything that would be considered, I guess, a big action star type thing. He's just really, really good in any characters I've seen. There's something about him I just love. So I'm really excited about American Hustle. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah.
The other movie that I watched was Blood, the Last Vampire, which I have got to give it to, I don't know if it was Chinese or Japanese production companies, all the names and everything in it, but it was definitely, this is a foreign film, but it's exactly what Elysium needed. Amazing fight scenes, amazingly choreographed fight scenes, But she plays this, they don't call them vampires in it. They call them demons, and she's a halfling. She's a half vampire demon, whatever, half human, and she fights bad demons throughout the thing. And she's been alive for hundreds of years, but she's a 16-year-old kid, pretty much.
Okay.
Physically, she looks that way.
Okay.
So the whole premise is that she works for a government agency that is helping to protect the world from demons. And so anytime there's like an outbreak type of thing, she gets sent in, or she's following up on leads to kill demons. And her personal goal is to kill the demon that killed her father, or that kind of thing. Okay. But she infiltrates in this military base where there's this high school, and there's a lot of demons there. But it wasn't an amazing movie from like the storyline. I mean, it was just good, but the visuals and the fight scenes were just so well choreographed. I actually liked it better than I liked House at the End of the Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it did have great use of like the blood, like, you know, because she uses a samurai sword to kill everybody, and so like when they die, it's very round, like goblets of blood, little round balls of blood. I mean, it's almost animated, but it's the CGI on it's like they meant to do that. Because there's other stuff that's just amazingly well done that you know they were meaning to do that, so you knew that these did not have souls type of thing, because they talk about that in it. But yeah, it was, so that movie I actually enjoyed on my list. So, did you get yourself any scary horror things in at all? Or it's tough for me because Tiffany's not a fan of any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So she never wants to watch it with me. So to be honest, both of these I actually were watching on my tablet, like later at night while she was watching The Voice or asleep or something. Yeah.
No, the only thing on my list, or that list, that I watched was I went back and watched Ghostbusters, which is on my list, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
The original Ghostbusters?
Yeah, the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's been a very long time.
And the one thing that stood out to me, I mean, it was a good, fun movie, but the one thing that really stood out to me is like when this like demon that's on the top of the building like comes to life and starts chasing people down. It's like,
oh, the statue thing,
the statue thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's CGI, and it's so bad. But I'll bet you at the time we were like, "Oh, that's amazing." But if you watch it now, it's bad.
Really?
Bad. Yeah, it's really, really bad.
I need to watch it because, I remember him coming alive and jumping down, and like how he would hop along on the sidewalk and stuff, chasing after people.
Yeah, it's bad.
Really?
It's really, really bad.
So I want to watch it, but like it's going to ruin it for me from what I remember. I remember it being good.
Yeah, well, but that can play, like, right? Like when I was a kid, I loved The Knight Rider, and I thought it was the coolest show in the world. Mm-hmm. It's just as fun for me to watch today, but not because it's that cool, because it's that cheesy.
Oh, okay.
Like, I put in an episode the other day on Netflix, and there was a scene where he didn't want the valet guy to park Kit, so he kind of tells off makes up some stupid excuse and then parks Kit himself. And the valet guy is standing there with one other dude, and the valet guy is like, "Man, some people just can't trust other people with their car," whatever. And the valet goes, "Yeah, I'll make them pay for that." And I was like, what valet is going to seek vengeance out on somebody who doesn't make him park the car and then come running back for it, right?
Yeah,
like, who works a valet job would go through? I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so that's but the Ghostbusters. Was there any other ones then, or just got yourself some Ghostbusters in?
No, the only other thing is I'm hoping to. I don't have any real big plans on Halloween yet, and I'm hoping to watch Tuckerdale that you told me about.
Oh yeah.
Like ever since you told me about it a year ago, I'm like, oh man, this is right up my alley. This sounds really good. So. I really do want to see that one. And,
if you don't have any plans for Halloween, my only plans are obviously, we're probably going to take Lucas somewhere. But man, maybe we should plan on like a late night watching Tucker and Dale or something Halloween. Right. I'd totally be down for that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't wait. I haven't seen that in a while, and I can't wait for you to see it too. All right, beautiful,
cool,
very well done. I was doing a little bit of reading, and I listen to talk radio sometimes when I'm driving to and from work.
Okay.
But there is a thing. They have a name for what my problem is. Nomophobia.
Nomophobia?
N-O-M-O-phobia. Nomophobia.
73%
73% of the people in the U.S. have this phobia.
Nomophobia.
All right? I'm going to read you a couple of other little stats here real quick on this, and then you tell me what you think it is. I'm going to see if I can read the stats without giving it away. 29% of people haven't gone any longer than 1 hour without this, and 56% of people polled say they haven't gone longer than 3 hours without it. And I'm holding it in my hand right now.
Cell phone.
Yeah. Nomophobia. It's officially got a name. And it's in the dictionary and everything, yes.
Did they say how they came out with Nomo? Like, why isn't it Nophonobia?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so smartphone. So it's an actual phobia. I bring that up because Monday, in my drugged up state because I had a cold, I drove to work without my cell phone.
Right.
And I realized it like 3/4 of the way to work, I had my cell phone. I was like, that's fine. I'm just not going to be bothered on it as much. I'll deal. But my wife, and I love her to death, she saw my phone, and after she was done in court, she dropped off at my work a couple hours later. And I had to say thank you, but part of me was like, oh man, I almost got out of having to,
Oh, really?
check, or have my phone for the day. So that somewhat relieves me, but at the same time, like, when I was driving and I realized it was gone, I still did the whole check your pockets type of thing and looking for it. And I realized when I take my lunch break a lot, I'll listen to a podcast or I'll watch an episode of something on Netflix when I do lunch, and I didn't have it. And so I was going to like stare at the world or something weird, like out the window if I didn't have it.
Right.
But yeah, it would be the last time I was ever for a long period of time away from my phone was when I was in Europe, because I just couldn't use the phone over there, so I just didn't have it on me. But now, if I did any kind of international traveling like that, I'd have some type of device that I could connect to the Wi-Fi and with my tablet or something. It's it'd be very strange.
Yeah, that's the thing about going to Belize. Like, normally Shireen's grandmother or someone will have Wi-Fi, so we'll, check in on Facebook now or upload some pictures from the trip or whatever.
Right.
But like, when we go out to the Keys or we go out to her granddad's farm or whatever, like, there's barely electricity in some of those places,
Yeah.
And it's great. Like, it feels a little uncomfortable at first, but then, like, once you sort of let that go and realize you can just sit on the porch and read or sit in the hammock or go jump in the river, it's like... It's freeing. It's great.
There you go. Yeah, it's freeing. It's a certain... I mean, our podcast is all about streaming stuff and everything like that, which I totally love. And it'll always be a part of my life. But, there's something to be said for just, like, sitting there and just watching the grass, I guess, checking out a sunset, things like that you want to do. But anyway, so nomophobia. There is a word out for it. Apparently 73% of people have nomophobia, fear of being without their cell phone for a long period of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which, to some people, from those statistics, would be a couple hours.
It would be a few hours. Yeah. Half the people that were polled, it was a local radio station that did that actual poll. The 73% from somewhere else. But of that poll, over half of them said they couldn't be more than 3 hours without it.
Well, what's interesting, though, is whenever I don't have my phone with me, I all of a sudden feel like someone's trying to get a hold of me, and they can't.
Right.
And it's something important. And then when I finally find my phone and there's no messages on it, I feel a little depressed. Because it's kind of like, why was nobody trying to get a hold of me? I was gone for like 5 hours.
Do they not realize?
Yeah.
I could have died.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's a weird thing. So
yeah, so we're not against phones and all that stuff. It's just...
every once in a while, stop and smell the roses type of thing. Right, Don't have this silly little fear, because someday the zombie apocalypse is going to happen. And you're not going to have the internet, so you're going to have to learn how to fight.
So, speaking, you asked me what I was doing for my birthday earlier, and so that's kind of what I'm probably going to do on my day.
Okay.
And but other than that, for my birthday present, which my wife gave me already, she bought me tickets to see Jerry Lewis live, which you and Sam came along with.
Yes, yep.
So I think this is a good time for us to maybe play the film history music. What do you think?
Oh, I'm in. I've got some stuff I want to talk about.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
It's time for This Week in Film History.
All right, yeah. So I don't normally ask for stuff on my birthday, but like when I saw Jerry Lewis was going to be at the state fair, I was like, Shireen, this is what I want for my birthday. And what was fun is years ago, Sam, Steve, and I actually, I think Sam took you and me because it was our birthday.
It was our birthday week thing.
Yeah, our birthday week.
Yeah.
Took us to see Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, who I idolized Tim Conway growing up, and along with Jerry Lewis, ironically. And then you weren't there, but then Sam and I went to see Bill Cosby after that. And so now it's all that again, and we got to see Jerry Lewis. So we had this fun conversation while we were there about like what other aging comedian that's going to be with us not much longer would we like to see, which was fun. But before we get into the Jerry Lewis stuff, you watched Jerry Lewis growing up? What was your impression?
I did, and before we get into some of the stuff I want to talk about his Q&A at the end, I can't remember an exact time of when I started watching, but I know that it was the solo days of Jerry Lewis.
Oh, it wasn't the Martin Lewis stuff?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay,
I remember my first step into it, 'cause my mother still has a lot of them on VHS probably at her house.
Right.
But it was the days of things like the Bellhop and Cinderfella and stuff like that. So yeah, it was his solo days, and the Bellhop or Bellboy, Bellhop I think it is. That one is probably my favorite of his.
Right.
But because I love not physical comedy like throwing yourself around, but like just the facial comedy, and the fact that he doesn't say anything till the end of that just makes it so beautifully well orchestrated. The way he runs around and everything. I mean, that's what was great about him was that presence that he had from a physical standpoint. But that would be my first. It wasn't until later that I started listening to different music that then the Rat Pack came about, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh wait, this Dean Martin guy and this Jerry Lewis guy, and so then that just opened up this whole new world for me all of a sudden.
So you did eventually kind of get into the Martin Lewis stuff a little bit.
Yeah, and like the Colgate Hour and stuff like that,
right,
and then like their sketch things that they did, and I wish I owned a lot of that stuff on DVD, or I could find more of that stuff because
some
a lot of
Colgate I think is on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah. Because that's been the only way I've been able to find some stuff is either through Netflix or YouTube, which is great, and I'm so thankful for that. But yeah, I wish. In fact, this is a great question for you. I would love to go back in time to see a live show of theirs. Like, of anything, because talk about just like, we've talked about this before, great entertainers that can interview somebody and make me laugh and sing and I would love to see that live.
Yeah, I would. I do have that list of like things I would go back and see in terms of entertainment, and I'd go back and see Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack if I could. I want to see Johnny Cash if I could see him play in some place like Folsom. That would be really awesome. And then watch Martin and Lewis, not do their movies, not even do the comedy hour. I want to see them like early on, like
in a club type of thing, in a small setting. Yeah.
Steve and I read Dean and Me a Love Story, which is Jerry Lewis's book all about his relationship with Dean Martin. And the stories about about their performance, like that's really what made them Martin and Lewis, was those performances that, people got to see once, and then it was never
the same thing again. It was improv is what it was.
Right.
It wasn't a scripted thing, which was new to people. So.
Yeah. And he, in fact, he showed this clip, which I'm sure that was fairly somewhat rehearsed at the point it finally got filmed. But what was it? Dean Martin was singing in the Rain.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then Lewis comes by, and he's like splashing him with a little bit of water from a glass, and then he just throws a whole glass on it, and then it keeps escalating with like buckets. And then Martin makes him start singing, and then he starts chucking buckets on him, and then eventually the band leader gets inside. It's just mass chaos at the end. Mm-hmm. And what's fun to me is to like see that joke first start developing, because they did so much improv and that type of stuff in their show.
And how they accepted it, too, because, like, in that particular scene you're talking about, it's great. Dean Martin's just still trying to sing while he's getting doused from Jerry Lewis with water. But then Dean's done. He stops. He grabs Jerry Lewis by the shoulders, stands him right there, gives him the hand. Like, doesn't even say anything. Just say, they're here. And then Jerry Lewis doesn't want to because he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But he accepts it. He accepts that this is what needs to be done. And he starts singing, knowing full well he's going to get doused with water and stuff. It was so good.
Yeah, it's a perfect communication to elite actors just feeding off of each other and knowing what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to stand there and sing, but you're supposed to not want to because you know what's going to...
Yeah.
So
it was really well done. So the whole premise of this is that man, Jerry Lewis, is 87 years old.
Yeah, wow.
And doing a little bit of research, because I wanted to talk about this during film history, so I'm glad you did too.
Yeah.
There's one other person that is 87 years old that was born the same year that Jerry Lewis was, that is still alive, that is a very famous person. Can you think anything off the top of your head?
Is he a comedian?
Not a comedian, though, no. Hugh Hefner.
No, really?
Hugh Hefner is 87 years old.
Really?
I was doing some research into the year 1926 and famous people born then. Marilyn Monroe and Hugh Hefner were born in 1926, same year that Jerry Lewis was.
Oh, wow.
Hugh Hefner is also 87 years old. So it was great seeing Jerry Lewis because he walked out on that stage in full-on suit, didn't need any help. I mean, seemed to be in really great health for an 87-year-old guy.
Yeah.
And he sat down in his chair for the rest of it, which I totally get,
Right.
I mean, but he still had it, I felt like. Like, even when he was just telling some of those one-liner jokes, you could tell that he still was selling it. Like, his face, wasn't the same, obviously. Like, you could tell there was a little bit of strain there. I was really paying attention to that.
Right.
So you could tell that, he did the "Hey, lady," for somebody that asked him during the Q&A, he did a great job with it.
Yeah.
I wanted to get more behind the scenes stuff. Like, I loved it that he was showing us some of these videos that I almost felt like it was I was sitting in his living room and he was telling me some of his favorite moments in his life. Like, this is what, his memoirs, this is times he truly enjoyed. He showed us some of his favorite comedians he worked with and a favorite moment he had with Dean Martin. And he got really emotional talking about their relationship. Like, I felt like it was somebody telling me something right before they died. They needed me to know this about their lives.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that because, there's so much. I mean, he was born 6 years after World War I ended. I mean, there's so much that man saw in his life, and so much he helped develop in the comedy and the clubs and the filming in Vegas back in the day, and just it would be amazing to really sit down and hear some of those stories in a private setting from him.
Yeah, and what's interesting is listening to him. I was thinking about when I would listen to my 90-year-old grandmother in Oregon, and she would talk very affectionately about her life and people around her the same way he did. But what's funny is, my grandma talks about my grandpa like he was a saint. And I'm like, Grandpa wasn't a saint. But he just, yeah. And, but that, she just chose to remember all these, good things. And so I kind of felt like that's where Lewis was at. I'm sure he saw a lot of crap. He butted a lot of heads with a lot of these people, but he just remembers these, these good things. And he talks about the reunion with Dean Martin very affectionately and how they wrap things up. And, he didn't talk a lot about the breakup. He talked about the reunion and how much Dean Martin meant to him. And, and that's, I think, where you want to be at the end, or, not that he's at the end, but,
But that's where you want to be at that point in your life. Yeah, you want to remember the good times type of thing.
Yeah.
And so you're right. I would love, but I think the same way about the younger days of people, just anybody in Hollywood, in old Hollywood, to see what life was really like. It was so glamorized, today that Jerry Lewis, he got in arguments.
Oh, yeah.
He hated certain people.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that went on. I mean, it was a great face, but, behind the scenes, was he really a dick? I don't know. You know?
And I kind of, because, when he did the Q&A and whenever he'd kind of talk to the people around the sound, but you kind of got the feeling that he excels at mass communication, not interpersonal communication.
Yeah, right? There you go. Yes, yeah, very much so. I totally agree with that.
That was fun. But the one thing that really interested me as sort of a film geek was he actually talked about The Day the Clown Cried, which in film circles is one of the most infamous movies. I actually talked about this a few months ago on the podcast about lost films. Was this actual film that Jerry Lewis shot. It was filmed, it was completed, and it was shelved for a couple different reasons, and never shown. And it still exists to this day, but it's like locked away in his private vault, and nobody has ever seen it, and everybody wants to see it. And it's one of the it's debatable one of the top 2 movies that have been completed that people really want to see. The other one being an Orson Welles film. But do you know anything about The Day the Clown Cried? Did that mean anything to you, or is it just kind of...
It meant to me, and I actually knew some of it because of what you and I had talked about, but I'd already done some reading about it, and I was hoping that somebody during the Q&A would ask. I didn't have the guts to, because I'd read about when he'd snapped before to journalists and stuff when they'd ask about it, because he hated it so much.
Right.
But I think he took it really well, and he explained it perfectly. That it just wasn't a good movie. It wasn't a good film. Right. But I know that it's about he plays a clown that is put away because he's talking smack about Hitler pretty much. And then he ends up leading the Jewish children onto a train that's going to the gas camps where they're going to die. Right. And it's I read some after we saw him, the whole entire synopsis of the movie, and the end of the movie is he gets on this train and he realizes what's happening and everything, and he goes in to the gas chamber with the children, and the children love him because he's a clown and he's entertaining, but they're all going to their deaths, and he goes in with them, going to his own death. And it talks about how he holds on to this hope that a miracle is going to happen, and then all of a sudden there's this realization that no, there's no miracle. You're going to all die, and they die, and that's the end of the movie. So it's such a dark, horrible thing that it is polar opposite of Jerry Lewis. Yeah, and so when I read up some of the stuff on that, I was like, well, I could see why you wouldn't want people to see this. I mean, this could end who you are. Yeah, comedy wise. Right.
Well, what's interesting is the script was written by a couple other people, and then he kind of took it over and revamped the script to kind of suit his sort of style. Right. And then halfway through the production, it ran out of money. It was being financed internationally, and these company ran out. So Lewis funded the second half of the movie all with his own money. And when he came back, he found out that the original company had the rights that they had purchased to the screenplay had expired. So he no longer had the right to distribute the movie. And I guess the screenwriters were really upset at him, and he tried to buy the rights from them, but they wouldn't sell it to him. Right. Because they didn't like what he was doing with their work. And so it's been tied up in a legal mess ever since. And there's been rumors about who's seen it, who's not seen it. Is there, a completed version, stuff like that. And there's a completed version, but apparently it's in pieces and it's not all put together for legal reasons. Because if it was a completed copy, he would have had to turn that over. So I think he has all the reels, but they're just not together.
Pieced together.
Yeah, and so he keeps it in his vault, and he's admitted to this. He owns it. It's in his vault. The print exists, and it's just locked away. And what's interesting is as they've kind of gotten away from that controversy, that was done in the 60s, 70s?
70s. It was 72, I think 72. Is what it was, yep.
And so the original screenwriters were actually trying to get a push for it to get done again. So in the late 80s, they were trying to make it again, and the legal stuff got tied up, whatever. And in the 90s, they actually got a couple people to sign on, one of which was Robin Williams.
Oh, to play the character of the clown. Wow.
And they were going to do it the way they wanted to, and it fell through. And then when Life is Beautiful came out, a lot of interest came back into the piece, and people started talking about the movie again because it's a similar story. And they tried to do it again, and they actually got Robin Williams attached again, and then somehow it fell through. And then it popped up, I think, in 2008, which is what you heard when he told a reporter off. Mm-hmm. And then just recently, it's been coming up more. And a month ago, they actually released a clip of the film on YouTube that you can see. Yeah. It was from a documentary that was done by some international And so there's footage of him behind the scenes talking about the project and some scenes from the movie and stuff, and it's pretty cool. So I would go watch that if you can. But what's even better is I saw an article when I came home where he was being interviewed, I don't know, a month or two ago or sometime this summer. And someone was actually in Jerry Lewis's office, and he was interviewing him about some other stuff. And I guess Jerry Lewis really liked him. And he brought up the movie, and Lewis said, "I'm not talking about it." So he finished the interview talking about the other stuff. And then at the very end, Lewis was like, "All right, did you get everything you wanted?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, everything except for, the stuff to talk about the clowns." And I guess Lewis liked him enough. He was like, "All right, I'll give you 10 questions." So he's like, "What, really?" So he was very honest about, stuff. And
right.
he gave him 10 questions. And I'll have to post the stuff because I really want to put an article about all this stuff together. But what's really interesting is the 10 questions he answered doesn't completely line up to the stuff he talked about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It sounds like he's actually kind of proud of the work.
Okay.
And so, I don't know. And the other interesting thing, too, is he's like, will anybody ever see it? And, why is it locked away as opposed to being destroyed? And the way Lewis is answering these questions is kind of like, well, once I'm gone, I can't control what happens to it anymore. Almost like, I hope it gets released.
Right. Well, because one of the articles I was reading about talked about, some of the few people who did see it, and one of the guys was saying that it sounds like it could be like a Schindler's List of its day if it was done really well and everything like that. And actually, Milton Berle and Dick Van Dyke were both offered the part of the clown too before he had gotten involved with something else that I read about. So it was there's just so much about it. But I found the thing you're talking about where he. Lewis took a rough cut of the film while the studio retained the entire film negative to ensure that it wouldn't be lost. And then that's when the breach of contract and the lawsuit and everything else happened with the Washburger and the funding and all that stuff. And then it just never came to light. But that makes sense that if you're going to keep a copy of this, you've got to be proud of what you did. There's got to be something there that you. I mean, otherwise I would just destroy it. You know. I mean, if I liked this moment in my life, I'd keep a picture of it. If I didn't, then just toss it. I don't care.
Yeah. And the other interesting from that article, too, was he almost made it sound like he enjoys the mystery that surrounds it.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of
because very few people, and anybody who did see it's not alive anymore. He's one of the last few, probably.
Yeah, and some people said they saw it, and they lied about it, and... I mean, it almost sounds like he relishes it a little bit. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, were you glad you went, though, to see?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I was the same way. I was totally glad I did, just because, like you said, to see Tim Conway and to see Jerry Lewis and to see, who else did you see? Bill Cosby, that's right. Before they passed away, before their time, to be able to say... that I saw him live perform once. Yeah. I mean, that just is a very cool thing to me. I'm so glad that I went. And so, yes, thank you to your wife for that great birthday present.
Yeah, that was fun. So that was some good film history. That was fun for us to both be involved with that one. That was fun.
Yeah, no, and I the Bellboy is actually what it is. I gotta find it and watch it now. Yeah, I was trying to remember for the life of me and looking it up, but yes, The Bellboy. That was it.
Yeah, so there's the Bellboy, and then there's the Disorderly Orderly.
Yes, and I've never seen the Disorderly Orderly, though.
Okay.
No. But yeah, the Bellboy. Directed, produced, and written, and starring Jerry Lewis. That sounds like something we would do.
Yeah, right.
1960 is what that was. Oh, that was a good one. So, beautiful stuff. I had 15... speedrun questions for you, a la what you did to me last time.
Right, the gauntlet?
The gauntlet, if you will. Yes. And let me tell you a couple of things about them, and then do you want to jump into them? Did you have something else? Or?
No, that sounds good.
Beautiful. So, I gave you some softies here.
Okay.
Some easy things. I already know what your answer is going to be, but, our listening crowd doesn't necessarily. But then, I gave you a couple of hard ones.
Oh, no.
One of them is, I'm going to give you two choices. If you had to kill off a Muppet, who who would you kill off?
Oh.
And I'm choosing two, and you got to pick one of them that goes.
Oh.
And one that lives. I got some tough ones in here for you, Jeff.
Woo!
So, yeah. So, some softballs, but then some tough ones. So,
all right.
I hope you're ready. I got a 15-question gauntlet.
All right, let's do the music.
Speed round. Speed round.
Speed round.
All right,
let's do it.
Jeff.
All right.
If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, would it be The Princess Bride or a Muppet movie?
Like the Muppet movie or any Muppet movie?
The Muppet movie.
Oh, Princess Bride.
Okay. Drink of choice, iced tea or lemonade?
Iced tea.
Netflix or Hulu Plus?
Netflix.
A movie starring Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
Brad Pitt.
If you could only watch one type of movie style for the rest of your life, would it be a romantic comedy or an action adventure?
A romantic comedy.
Are the Kardashians overrated or do we need more of them?
Oh, overrated.
Can you name two Kardashian sisters?
Chloe and Kim.
All right. Lady Gaga, artist or whack job?
Whack job.
Brian Regan or Larry the Cable Guy?
Brian Regan.
If you had to kill off one Muppet, would it be Kermit or Animal?
Oh! Animal.
Ooh, ouch, that burns, that hurts. All right, pie or cake?
Pie.
The Terminator series or the Alien series?
The Terminator series.
Bigger phobia, scorpions or spiders?
Scorpions.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Okay, all right, tough one, last one. This is Muppet. Would you prefer a Muppet Christmas Carol or Muppet Treasure Island?
Muppet Christmas Carol.
All right. Woo. Nicely done. I knew the Kermit and the animal one would get you. Yeah, those are two biggies for you there. I actually like Muppet Treasure Island more myself.
Yeah,
some good adventure there on that one. But yeah,
yeah. I think I think Muppet Treasure Island is the better movie. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have that dumb sappy song in the middle. But the thing, the reason I went with the Christmas Carol is it's Christmas. And
it is the holidays coming up.
Yeah, it's the holidays. So it's kind of like. And that's, for those of you who don't know me, I have an annual Christmas party where we watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, and it's sort of like...
That's the thing.
Yeah, it's the movie I watch every year out of the two of them. So, yeah.
All right. Well done.
All right, so you ready for yours?
Oh, yeah. All right, how many do I have in my gauntlet?
Yeah. How did you know I did a gauntlet for you?
I'm just assuming since it was so successful last week.
Yeah. 13.
All right, 13. Here we go. Okay.
All right, are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Gauntlet number 2. All right, number 1. Thanksgiving viewing. Do you watch a Charlie Brown Christmas special, Friends Thanksgiving episode, or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving episode.
All right, Halloween viewing. Slash as many possible, or save some time for the story?
Slash as many as possible.
M. Night Shyamalan. Used up all of his chances, or you're still holding hope that there's another great film?
One more, please, one more.
PS4 or Xbox One or whatever it's called?
PS4.
Okay. Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime?
Netflix.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Thanksgiving.
Oh. Dean Martin or Jerry Lewis?
Oh! I go with Jerry Lewis. Yeah, first love, yep.
50 Shades of Grey movie. Will you watch it?
No.
If Hollywood made a story on your life and Justin Bieber played it and you Bull directed it, would you watch it?
No.
When is it acceptable to start watching Christmas movies?
December 1st.
Would you watch Hunger Games sequel if there was no Jennifer Lawrence?
Probably.
If Jennifer Lawrence and Denzel Washington made a movie, how many times would you and Tiffany watch it?
5.
You have the opportunity to delete one of these people from the universe and American history.
Oh, wow.
Which one do you choose?
Okay.
There's a list.
Okay, I'm listening.
Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, the Jonas Brothers, Chris Brown, all the current members of Congress, or every member of the ASU football team. or one asshole at work.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. The one that's sticking to my head though, Justin Bieber.
Oh, all right. Congrats. Good job, Steve.
Wow, Jeff, well done. And I just want everybody to know, we do not know what the other person's going to ask, so I think it's hilarious. We both had Kardashians, Netflix, Hulu questions in there, and erasing somebody completely.
Yeah, and Jerry Lewis question.
Yes.
Which should be, that's
hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a long list, man. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, initially I was going right for Miley Cyrus, but
Yeah, we both had Lady Gaga in ours.
Yep.
Too.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, thanks.
I like the gauntlet. That's fun stuff.
So Thanksgiving, that's an interesting choice.
No, well, so, okay, if you want to go into it, I find Thanksgiving to be so much less stress than the Christmas holiday.
Right.
I have always enjoyed, ever since I moved here, Thanksgiving versus Christmas, because visiting all the family, the decorations, all this other stuff. Thanksgiving for me, this is what my Thanksgiving traditions are. The weekend before Thanksgiving, my parents rent a beach house in San Diego, and my family goes out there for the whole weekend, and we do Thanksgiving the weekend before.
That's cool.
Thanksgiving Day, in the afternoon, we go over to her parents' house and do your normal turkey dinner thing, and then that's it. Like, it's two very different family things. We don't have to cram it into one day. There's no decorations, no gifts. We're just like, we're eating, watching football, and having fun playing board games and drinking coffee and beer, you know? I mean, it's like, it's so much more relaxed, and it's what Christmas was to me when I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, Christmas was a lot of fun, and we were playing games and stuff like that, but as I've grown up, I've realized, like, man, there's just too much stress around Christmas holidays and the shopping and getting the right gift and all this other stuff, and, like, completely defeats the purpose. I'm actually very anti-Christmas holidays, so even though I decorate my house every year, that's my wife that makes me do that. We get a live tree, that's totally her. I'd be fine with the fake one.
Really?
Yeah, so not my things.
Yeah. See, I love I love getting the real tree. I love smelling it. You know, when my dad's from Oregon, so it's you got to do
you have to do the live tree.
You have to do the live tree, and you have to have a fireplace. And so, since I don't have a fireplace, I'm so desperate. I put on the fake fireplace on the TV with the fireplace sounds. Like, that's how desperate. Yeah,
you are uber holiday guy.
Yeah, and but I am the same as you in terms of every year I kind of get in this mode where I want all of those feelings that I had, you know, in Christmas growing up, and then somehow during the Christmas season, it's, you know, all these parties you're obligated to go to, and all the shopping that you have to do, and then what you really want to do is spend time with family, but you end up, you know, working overtime at work, and, you know, working on all these, you know, helping somebody move, and just all these things that tend to come up when you want to, like, focus on just having fun with your friends and family, and like a low stress situation.
Like, the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that I look forward to at the holiday season is when Tiffany and I set aside time later at night to drink hot cocoa and watch Love Actually.
Oh yeah,
we do that every holiday. Love Actually is our holiday themed movie, and so that's nice and relaxing to me. And I love traditions though, so that's a cool tradition to me. But yeah, the rest of the Christmas stuff, no, thank you.
Well, I will say the one tradition that has still really kept sort of the magic feelings for me, and maybe this is because the kids are involved, I don't know. But I don't have kids, so I get to borrow my niece and nephew, who I love. And so what we do is we've done this for the past 2 or 3 years now. We'll have I have the first Christmas movie showing of the year at my house. So we're not supposed to watch any Christmas movies. This is the first Christmas movie we're allowed to watch after the first weekend after Thanksgiving or whatever. Brad and Lisa come over with the kids, and it's a pajama party, and we'll have, you know, hot cocoa, and we'll make cookies together, and then we'll have the tree set up, and then we'll watch a Christmas movie, usually a movie the kids had never seen before.
Right.
And we'll all curl up on a big blanket and, you know, watch the movie. And sometimes we'll, like, get the kids the first gift, like a little gift for Christmas. And that's always fun.
Well, and you probably bring up exactly, like, I'm at that point in my adult life where, you know, Lucas is too young to really necessarily know that, but by next year, like Christmas, it's going to be such a big thing for him that's where it's going to be fun. Like, the thought of like curling up under a blanket with hot cocoa with a kid, and like watching this Christmas movie, like that's like that kid is so enjoying that, part of life, and that's what I miss, is being that kid. Yeah. And so if your niece and nephew can come over, and my son, and then that's like you can absorb some of that, like. Being in awe of this tradition.
Living it vicariously.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
the other thing, too, I like is, wasn't it last Christmas that you and I met like halfway between our house because one of us wanted to borrow like a cup of sugar from the other one?
I needed a cup of sugar from you.
Is that it? Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that was what it was. And so, I remember that. And I think that was Christmas. Like, it was like Christmas morning or something. It was something ridiculous.
I remember I walked out there in like my pajamas and
and you had your big footy slipper things, your Munster ones, or goofy slipper, ones. Yeah, you had your big goofy slippers, and I'm walking over just like shorts and whatever. Yeah. We should not have been out in public like that, just walking down the street, meeting halfway for a cup of sugar. Merry Christmas. Walking back to the house. Wife's baking something.
And that, to me, that is such a big part of... I mean, you get caught up in all the Christmas garbage, but to me, it's family, it's friends, it's borrowing a cup of sugar, it's walking halfway across the street in your pajamas, and to help a neighbor out. That's a fun part.
That's the meaning of Christmas. That's that thing that everybody says. Yeah, that's the fun part. So it sounds like we're going to have a lot to talk about come the holiday season with this podcast.
I know. It's not even Halloween yet, and I usually hate the Christmas stuff before that, so sorry guys. Sorry, apologies.
Well, so Thanksgiving only. I don't know. We'll have to find some Thanksgiving themed movies to stream.
I already started a list of Thanksgiving movies on Netflix.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was one. It'll be interesting to read this list. So.
You have to dig. You have to dig pretty deep.
Right.
Yeah, there's like one or two obvious movies, and then from there it's kind of like...
The slasher horror turkey comes back to kill you from the zombie dead.
Well, it's not even that. It's like so-and-so goes back home for a Thanksgiving dinner, and bad things happen.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of like Thanksgiving is somewhere in the story.
The setting somewhere. It's a romantic comedy with Thanksgiving dinner and something like that. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. This has been another wonderful podcast, Jeff.
It has.
All things considered, I was sick this weekend. We've been busy with this audio drama. We're getting that released here, actually, on Halloween Day.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
the Gauntlet's the way to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just glad that we were able to at least hold it together without Sam.
Well, we'll see. I haven't listened to the audio on this.
That's true. That's true.
It could be a garbled mess. But we can do it without Sam.
Yeah.
We don't need that guy.
Yeah, he's going to listen to this.
Sam, please come back, Sam. We need you, please.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. And make sure you check out our podcast on Halloween Day, or our radio drama. Yeah, that thing. And
check it out. 12aproductions.com. Find it on iTunes, everywhere else. But yes, definitely check it out and let us know what you think about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. All right.
The 12A podcast is produced by 12A Productions and distributed by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. To learn more about the podcast or to see what other projects the 12A team is working on, check out 12aproductions.com.
Your challenge, Jeff, will be to find a Jennifer Lawrence-themed Thanksgiving movie for me.
Oh, snap.
This has been another great presentation by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. You can find more information at 4eyedradio.com.